What's good, guys? I hope everyone is doing well. I got a settings guide for you guys today since the last one I posted was a pretty long time ago. With the new season dropping, of course, I want to make sure that you guys are all updated, and I hope you guys have been enjoying season 2. Anyway, let's just get right into this video. Let's get you boys and girls set up. Okay, first thing you want to do is make sure your game is closed. You want to go to your search bar and type in graph settings. Then you go over here, you click on desktop app, you go to your, let's see, you go to your SSD drive, to your Steam library, Steam apps, common, and then you find your game. This can work for any game you play, by the way. So I recommend you do this for any game you play and any game you want to squeeze the maximum amount of performance out of. This is the way to do it. So you go on to Fragpunk, then click fragpunk.exe, you add it, it'll show up in here if I am correct. Yes, right here. Then you go to GPU preference. It'll probably be on let Windows decide, or it'll be on normal or something like that. I'm pretty sure on Windows 10 it says something different, but either way, you want to click on that and then head to high performance, and that should be that. Now you X out of this, you go to your NVIDIA control panel. So we open up NVIDIA control panel. I like to squeeze the most FPS out of my system. So I have this on performance. After that, you want to go to manage 3D settings. Let me max this out for you guys real quick. And try and copy these settings that I have here exactly. This makes sure that all the unnecessary stuff is off and you get the maximum amount of FPS out of your game. You can slow down the video and copy any of these settings. And after that, you click apply and you'll be ready to go. You can just click out of this. Now that we have done that, we can start up our game and we'll head into those settings. Let's just get right into it. Automatic climbing, obviously I don't think you want this on, because this will grief you in some situations. Sometimes you don't want to climb a box, you jump and you accidentally do climb it and you die. So this is just pain and suffering. Automatic sprint, it kind of depends on what kind of a person you are. Some people just don't have it bound, or some people just don't have their sprint bound and turn this on. You can't walk, but I guess you can ADS, and certain weapons like the not the one shot in the body sniper, the other one with the 3 bullets that hip fire. I forgot what the name is. That one has a pretty fast walk speed or ADS speed. You could use that to walk in certain situations. This is kind of more of a preference thing, depends on what game you come from. Camera shake during sprint, I have this off, you don't want this on. FOV sprint scaling, you don't want this on as well. Everything that messes with your FOV, just don't want that on, since FOV directly also impacts your sensitivity. So you want that off for sure. Yeah, you run out of ammo on a gun, you pick it up, you instantly have it in your hands, you don't need to reload. Pick a gun up and then switch, and then going through the animation. This is just way faster. You just pick up, have the animation, and you're good to go. This depends on whether you're a real man or not. Real men just take it, just thug it out, just take it. If you're not, however, you know, you can turn it on and you'll have a gray screen. But real men just take the flashbang, that's all I'm saying. These target guides and paint road guide, these are for new players. I recommend having them on if you do not know the maps very well yet. It's just a helping hand. Same goes for the doors. I just have this on because I'm just used to it. I do think this is probably, I mean, you don't need this on. This is personal preference, to be honest. All these are, if you're new to the game, I recommend having all of these on. If you're an experienced player, it really doesn't matter whether you have them on, yes or no. Yeah, it's just personal preference. This have this on because you really don't want to flick off to your second monitor for those that have one. This just clamps your cursor to your screen so you won't accidentally flick off onto your second monitor and tab out. I've never really messed with these, so yeah, I just keep mine on low magnification. I guess if you use anything else, you could continue using that, but yeah, I just use this minimap, keep player centered. I have that off. That's what I'm used to. This is also, all of this is personal preference as well. What I recommend you do if you're not used to looking at the minimap is have it really big at the start, and once you get used to having that muscle memory locked down, you can slowly make it smaller. But your minimap is a lot of information that you need to know and that you need to keep track of. So yeah, if you're new, I recommend maxing the minimap size out. That way you won't miss anything, and you'll build that muscle memory of looking at your minimap every couple of seconds. If you're an experienced player, all of this is just personal preference. So do whatever you're used to from whatever game you come from, and I'm sure you'll be completely fine. Okay, display and performance metrics. All of this is also kind of personal preference. I have my performance metrics on. This shows how much frames you have and when it drops. Auto ping. Auto ping is pretty handy. That way you don't have to manually ping. Could turn this off. It's whatever. This pings as soon as you see someone. So that is, I don't know. I think you won't really go wrong with this. Button hints off, hide button, yeah, hide button loadouts. Like, this is all personal preference, Loki. If you're new, it might be handy to keep these on, but yeah, you don't have to. Ping visibility, if it's getting in the way, you could tone it down, the opacity, make it more see-through. I have never had that issue, so I just keep it at 1. I never really mess with this. Colorblind mode, I have mine on off. Enemy color is on yellow. I've heard that the human eyes react the fastest to yellow. Then again, that might just be hearsay. I just use yellow. You're allowed to use whatever you want. It's just personal preference. Headwear, I have this pumpkin in game on my head. I just fuck with a pumpkin. Don't ask me why. I don't know. I think it's just cool. You want to hide these components from the enemies though, since the pumpkin is kind of big. You do not want to get tapped in the head because you have a big flaming pumpkin on your head. The crosshairs is also personal preference in my opinion. At the moment, I'm rocking this little cross shape here. If you want it, I'll be putting this in the description down below, so you can just copy it. And yeah, other than that, that is the general tab. Keyboard, these are my binds. This is personal preference. I'll just let you look over this. I'll put everything in the description below, although I don't recommend copying someone else's keybinds, since this is really just personal preference and what you're used to. I don't use controller, so we can just skip over that. Sensitivities right here. This is also just personal preference. I don't recommend copying this either, since it also depends on your DPI and yada yada yada. Let's move on to the video settings. I play on stretch resolutions, as a lot of you guys know by now. I already have a guide on how to do stretched. If you do not know, let me actually just show you. Okay, if you want a custom resolution for whatever game, you have to open your video control panel, go to display, change resolution, you go to customize, then create custom resolution. The The one I'm using is 1728 by 1080. So what you do is type here 1728 by 1080. You press on test. Your screen will flicker. Then it'll ask you to actually apply it. You click yes, and then it should be available as a custom resolution. It will show you right here. You can do whatever resolution you want. It doesn't have to be 1628 by 1080. You could also have 1680 by 1050 is also one that I use a lot. But yeah, that's basically how you do it. Then you can X out. You have to restart your game, and then you have to change your display ratio to 1610, and then the resolutions, both resolutions, will be right here. So yeah, that's another one for you guys. Stretch resolution also kind of makes people a little bit wider, and you use less pixels, so that's also better frames. The only drawback is that people are smaller the further they are from you, so that's the only small drawback there is. It's not too bad in my opinion, but yeah, that's also the main reason why stretched is used for the ones that don't know. Frame rate limit, this all depends on your hardware and what your system can handle. I have mine set to 144. I have a 144 hertz monitor, so be sure to check how high of a refresh rate your monitor has. Sadly, this only goes up to 144. I'm not sure if that's because of my monitor. Okay, so if you want to cap your in-game frame rate to higher than 144, if that's not allowed, I do think that you can cap it higher than 144 in game, and maybe it's only my monitor, even though that would be pretty weird. First, I need to show you how to get here. You go to 3D settings. Instead of global, you go to program settings, and you go in here. If Fragpunk isn't in here, go to add, and then you should find it here. If you don't find it here, you go to browse. You go to your SSD or whatever you have your Steam on, go to library, Steam apps, common, and then add Fragpunk, and then Fragpunk.exe is right there. I already have it open, so I don't need to. But basically that's how you get there. Then you just scroll down a little bit, max frame rate, you put it on, you type in whatever frame rate you're looking for, right? Press on OK, and then it is fixed at 180. You could do whatever you feel like you want to. Make sure your system can hit this number consistently though, since if your system can't, that will impact your gameplay, and you don't want that to happen. Anyway, you can X out of this now, and you'll have to restart your game for all of these settings to apply, obviously. But let's move on. Brightness, I haven't touched this. Sharpen, I have it on 1.5, even though I do think it's a little bit too wonky. I think I'm gonna put it at 1. This is just personal preference, by the way. It really doesn't matter. Vertical sync, you want this off. Anti-tearing, you want that off too. The only reason why you would want to have this on is if you notice that you have screen tearing, but if you don't have any of that, just turn it off. This will just add to your input latency, even though it says it doesn't. VSync, it depends if you have screen tearing. Once again, if you don't have it, no need to. Just turn it off. You don't need it. Now, I use DirectX 12. It's been pretty stable for me. I've played on 11. I've been kind of testing it out, which one like performs better. For a lot of people, DirectX 12 might be more stable, but I think this kind of depends on your system. So go ahead and test out which one is better. Visual simplification, I have this on. I kind of like how the game looks. It also helps with performance, especially if you have a lower end PC. These are my specs. If you want to, you can go to minimalist on everything. Game will look fine to me. Yeah, this will help you if you have a very low-end PC. So you can just copy all of these. I think having damage numbers on, the only thing I think you should have on is damage numbers, since it is pretty handy to know how much damage you've actually dealt. Graphics settings, quality, I have everything on low. If you care about how your game looks, you can go on medium. This game is kind of a little bit iffy, since I don't think it should be that hard to run. I have a 3080 and an i7 13th gen in my system, and for whatever reason, sometimes the game still kind of tweaks out on me. So I just have everything on low. I really don't care how my game looks. I'm just here for performance and nothing else. If you have a higher end PC, you can go with no scaling. This will give you the lowest input delay, and that is what we're looking for. Other than that, if your system can't handle it, I've heard NVIDIA DLSS is pretty good, but you can just try different ones and see what works best for you. If we're going off of my graphic settings, I have everything on low, like you see here. UI resolution is the only thing I have on high, and yeah, that is pretty much it. Audio settings, pretty irrelevant. You can see right here, you can copy exactly what I have if you want to, but doesn't really matter. I have my music. Why do I have my music volume on 0 even though the game has pretty good tracks? I listen to my own music. So yeah, with all that being said, I hope you guys learned something. Hopefully your game will work better. If there is anything I've missed or any tips you guys would like to share with the Fragpunk community or with the gaming community in general, comment down below. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.